Live from the 22 News Studios, this is a Decision 2014 special program. Today, a debate with candidates for the 12th Hampden District, Massachusetts House seat. And now, here's Rich Teddemer.
Good afternoon. 22 News is working for you this week as we let the candidates you'll see on the ballot next Tuesday debate the issues today. And it's the candidates running for the Massachusetts House seat in the 12th Hampden District. Democratic Representative Angelo Puppolo is challenged by Republican Bob Russell. This is a Lincoln-Douglas style debate where the candidates will ask each other the questions with time for answers and rebuttal. First, each candidate will have 1 minute for an opening statement. And Angelo Puppolo, you go first.
Good afternoon, Rich. Good afternoon, everybody, and happy Halloween to those watching at home. My name is Angelo Puppolo. I'm the state representative of the 12th Hampden District. I think during my time as your representative, I've gotten some real results. We've been able to effectuate some strong reforms in the way government does business in transportation, ethics, pension, probate, trial court. Been a number of areas where we needed bad reforms, and we've been able to take care of those badly, and I think that's been critically important moving forward. I've also been able to deliver strongly relative to local aid for projects right in my district, whether it's libraries, schools, roadways, parks. There's been a tremendous amount of assets, and I think we've been able to bring home a critically amount of money that's been important for my entire district in both East Long Meadow, Springfield, and Wilbraham. But more importantly, and just as I think efficiently, we've been able to do all that by having a strong presence in the district. I've had a district office since day one. I've always been accessible. I've always been available. And I think that, you know, when you look at what I've been able to do and accomplish, you're going to see why I deserve to be returned.
Bob Russell, your opening statement, please.
Sure. Thanks, Rich, and thank you to Channel 22 for this opportunity. Yes, my name is Bob Russell, and I'm running for state representative. My core value is that a representative should represent the people of his district, not special interest, and certainly not Boston. Please let me fight for you, your kids, and your grandkids. Thank you.
This is a Lincoln-Douglas style debate where the candidates will ask each other the questions. You get 30 seconds to ask the question, 60 seconds to answer, then 30 seconds for rebuttal. And with the first question is Bob Russell. Bob?
Sure. Let's talk about the gas tax. Angelo, you're in support of the gas tax, an ever-increasing indexed tax that will put burden on our children and our grandchildren, and you'll never have to stand and answer for that at the ballot box. This puts incredible pressure on their future, and it's the antithesis of how our democracy was started. It's taxation without representation. How do you answer that?
Well, Mr. Russell, let's look and take a step back to see how we've gotten where we are today. The first proposals were to increase the gas tax by 18 cents. Some were 21 cents. We were able to reduce that, through a compromise to 3 cents. So the increase in the gas tax was only a 3-cent increase. There was original proposals along with that 18-cent gas tax increase for a full % increase in the income tax, removing itemized deductions on income tax, as well as new taxes on such things such as candy. So we were able to avoid that and make sure that we had, I think, enough moving forward to do the critically important repairs that we needed to do. Now, relative to the indexing, certainly I think that's been an issue. It's trending to be repealed, and I think if it does get repealed, that's not going to be an issue for me because I've already said I'm going to respect the will of the voters moving forward, and I think that's an issue that we all need to deal with. But again, we still need to look at the $12 billion in road and bridge repairs that need to get done, and that's critically important. And these aren't just potholes or road resurfaces. These are major repairs, structural repairs that need to get done.
Rebuttal?
Sure. There's no question that we have roads and bridges that need to be repaired. But Massachusetts has a cost per road mile of $460,000 for state highways. The national average is $160,000. There's room for improvement. Why is there always a knee-jerk reaction to go and increase taxes rather than look for efficiencies and do things in an efficient manner? Thank you.
Representative Puppolo, your next question, please.
Mr. Russell, you said during the campaign repeatedly that local aid has been decreased. We all know local aid and Chapter 70 money, educational money for educational purposes in our schools is critically important. It's certainly the lifeblood of Wilbraham, East Long Meadow, and Springfield. Can you cite specific instances where the cuts have been dramatically reduced, as you have said, over the past several months of the campaign? Because we have at record high levels of local aid and education money, and nothing could be further from the truth than what you've been saying in terms of dramatically cut over the past several years.
Don't take my word for it. The Mass Municipal Association has cited that state government has grown at a 5% increase for the last 6 years. Combined, that's $15 billion in increases. At the same time, $500 million has been subtracted from local aid to cities and towns. The money that the people that are actually trying to balance budgets has been reduced year after year after year. An election year gimmick, which is all I see happening this year. I've been on the Finance Committee for 2 decades. I know how town government works, and I know that the state is not living up to its part of the deal.
Rebuttal.
Well, let me just say this. Here's a graph going back to fiscal year 12. Each year there's been increases in local aid. So we don't have to take your word for it. That's the facts. This particular year there's been an increase overall in $25 million in local aid. And let me just tell you, my district particularly, there's been in Springfield an increase in educational funding of $5.7 million. In local aid, the city of Springfield has been $908,000. In East Long Meadow, education funding has been increased by $67,000, and local aid in East Long Meadow has been increased by $35,000. In Wilbraham, we've been able to increase education by $81,000, and
That's
local
time,
aid has been
Mr.
increased
Puppolo.
by $35,000.
Bob Russell, your next question, please.
Certainly. Common Core. Why would you be in favor of a program that does not promote time on learning?
First of all, I never said I was in favor of Common Core. And there's been a lot of rumors out there. The legislature in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts has never taken a vote to implement Common Core. This was part of the race to the top money relative to the federal government that every city and town and the school districts that wanted had strings attached to it from the federal government. There's been no state vote in the legislature relative to implementing that. In fact, I've got some concerns relative to Common Core. I've made those concerns known to the commissioner. I think that, you know, we all have, I think, the opportunity for significant change relative to that commissioner's position in January. There's going to be a new governor. I think some of the first things that are going to take place are going to be changes in the DOE and the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. So I think we're going to look forward to those changes, and I think there's going to be changes from the top. But again, I've never publicly stated that I've been in favor of Common Core, and I think that, again, there's going to be changes and we're going to have to be able to work through it. My goal is to make sure that teachers have the time to teach in the classrooms and they have the necessary facilities to do that.
Rebuttal.
Well, I'm gratified to see that we finally agree on one thing. That's very good, Angelo.
Angelo, your next question, please.
All right, Mr. Russell, you claim to be a candidate for fiscal accountability and responsibility, yet you recently filed for bankruptcy, sticking creditors and businesses with over $500,000 of your personal debt, including credit card bills and a $222,000 loan. How can you continue to say that you're a candidate of fiscal responsibility when none of these actions demonstrate that?
Well, first of all, the record is, yes, I did file bankruptcy. I was forced to file bankruptcy when I was not allowed to sell property that would have negated any possibility of me filing bankruptcy by a city council, which my opponent sat on at the time. 461 Boston Road in Springfield is an empty lot today. It doesn't generate nearly the income that the tax revenue would come out of that property had I been given the opportunity to sell my property. As far as the supposed facts of that have been made up about me, there's there's no resemblance to the truth there, and all this has done is shown and validated people's opinion of career politicians in the way that you expect these types of desperate moves when running for office, and you want to protect your office.
Rebuttal.
Well, certainly it's not a desperate move. It's a fact of the matter that you're going around saying that you're fiscally accountable and you want to be fiscally responsible, but yet your actions don't show that. Here it is right here. It's a 140-page bankruptcy. It's nothing I made up. I feel sorry for you. But the fact of the matter is that what we're talking about is a gentleman that wants to be your state representative, and he needs to be able to get his own financial house in order before he can go to Boston and tackle a $36 billion budget. That's the facts.
Bob Russell, your next question, please.
Well, I'd like to talk about transparency. First of all, my opponent has voted to restrict and deny publication of votes made in committee and not publish them on the internet. How do you answer that, Angelo?
Well, Mr. Russell, let me tell you, everything we do in the House of Representatives on the House floor is public record. All our votes are public. Everything we do is public record. All our committee hearings are open to the public. Relative to the committee votes, what we do in the House of Representatives, they're joint committees. They're House and Senate committees, and we have Senate and House rules. And certainly, I don't have a problem with making committee reports or votes public. But I think the important point is that what we've done in our votes is allowed the chairman to have the discretion to do that and have the ability to empower them. So in other words, we don't micromanage our committees. I will tell you one thing, that we start going down that line of mandating certain things on committee chairman, where we're going to start telling what time the committees are going to meet, where they're going to meet, how they're going to meet, and what subject matter they're going to take up. What we've done in the House of Representatives is we've empowered the chairman to make those decisions. And I can tell you that if I'm a chairman, I will work hard with my Senate co-part to make sure that our rules in that committee allow for public disclosure. Many of them do, and I'm going to continue on with that if I'm a chairman.
Rebuttal.
Well, public disclosure is great, but the Sunshine Foundation has found that Massachusetts gets an F in transparency. And it's that type of thinking, that type of restricting the public from knowing what goes on in committee votes, that, well, we deserve an F.
Representative Puppolo, your next question, please.
Mr. Russell, back in November 2013, you stated that the town of Wilbraham's commercial tax rate is lower than Springfield's, which is a good incentive for Springfield businesses to locate to Wilbraham. Why would you want to pit Springfield against Wilbraham businesses against one another?
I wouldn't want to pit anybody against anyone in the district that I represent, but at the time, I was a selectman, and it's a simple fact. We have a residential tax rate in Wilbraham. Springfield has a residential and a commercial tax rate. The commercial tax rate is onerous to businesses. And to point that out and to encourage people to want to come to the Boston Road corridor in Wilbraham because of the advantages that they would enjoy competitively is my obligation to do that. And I think really the question ought to be is why, under your tutelage, did the City Council continue to raise commercial tax rates at the same time to make it an unfair environment for businesses?
Rebuttal.
Well, look, just sticking on a point, certainly when I was on the City Council, we worked with business and residents to have a balanced rate that was important for both residential and commercial development. But my question is, again, when you're looking at a global sort of economy relative to a district, it's unfair to pit one business against another business and try to move them into another area. And in terms of talking about the tax rate, you increased the tax rate on the people of the town of Wilbraham last year, and that amounts to about $128 per homeowner. You've been critical of us in the legislature about taxes, but yet you yourself voted to increase taxes to the town of Wilbraham's residents.
Okay, gentlemen, time for a short 2-minute break and then more questions and answers for the candidates running for the State House seat in the 12th Hampden District. You're watching 22 News. Welcome back to the debate between the candidates running for the State House seat in the 12th Hampden District. Democratic Representative Angelo Puppolo is being challenged by Republican Bob Russell. They're in the middle of a Lincoln-Douglas-style debate where the candidates ask each other the questions with time for answers and rebuttal. And with the next question, it's Bob Russell.
Thanks, Rich. Representative Puppolo, you promote this idea that you're accessible and that you're engaged. I have a hard time understanding how you can say that because engagement and accessibility means that you have to be there and be present. You've never been to a selectmen's meeting, you've never been to a school committee meeting, you've never been to town meeting, at least in my town that I know of. How can you profess to be engaged when you don't show up?
Certainly that's inaccurate. I've been to a number of meetings in all my district, whether it's Wilbraham, East Long Meadow, and Springfield. I'm always around. I've got a district office that's been open since day one, right in the town of Wilbraham on Boston Road. A lot of representatives in the Commonwealth don't have district offices. I do. I opened one from the beginning, so we're there to help people come in, get through red tape, whatever they need for services and whatever they need for issues. I'm there to answer their questions. If someone sends me an email, I get them an email back. make a phone call back, a letter get back. We get back to you with a letter. The point is that I'm available and I'm around. Same thing, on a daily basis, whether it's in Boston, I'm engaged, whether it's back in my district. A lot of times I'm in session till the early part of the evening. I get back as fast as I can to do things in the district. That's where I am. You, on the other hand, you've never came to Boston, never testified in front of a hearing in front of me. You've never called me on an issue in my office, either in State House or in Boston.
Time, Mr. Puppolo. Rebuttal?
Sure. I've been a selectman for the last 2 years, on the Finance Committee for more than a dozen years previous to that. My opponent has never shown up at any of those meetings. And again, it's very hard for me to understand how somebody can say that they're engaged and aware. He's more than happy to give a legislative update to somebody that may give him a campaign contribution. He's more than happy to show up when the camera's around. But the rest of it is just a gimmick, folks. And it's, again, it's not engagement.
Representative Puppolo, your next question, please.
Mr. Russell, I read recently on Mass Live in an article that you failed to include debts forgiven on your ethics statement filing. In fact, you even admitted in that article that the State Ethics Commission has contacted you and you've been back and forth in a dialogue. As such, they're investigating this issue. My question is, why did you fail to fully disclose these debts?
Here we go again. First of all, that's a misquote. To my knowledge, there is no investigation. As far as the allegation that was made on Mass Live, certainly the discharge of debts, yes, I had them. They were in 2013. I've been accused of misrepresenting myself because I said that I didn't have any in 2013. They were discharged in 2012. It's as simple as that.
Rebuttal.
Well, it's not as simple as that. You just said 2013 twice, so if you had debts that were discharged in 2013, they should have been included on that ethics form. You just said that. But the fact of the matter is, there was no misstatement. In the article, people can go pull it up online, you said that you were contacted by the Ethics Commission and you had to answer questions from them on that. It's in the article. You can read for it and look at it yourself.
Bob Russell, your next question, please.
Angelo, when the election season began, you were a candidate for the Senate, and you decided to stay excuse me, you changed your mind. You want to be a candidate for the House of Representatives, and you stated as your reason that you wanted to spend more time with your family. I'm a family man, I understand that, but I mean, where is your priorities in terms of what you want to do and where you want to serve? You have a long history, and reported by Mass Live and in the newspaper, of applying for judgeships and clerk of court positions. Do you really want to be a representative?
Angelo.
First of all, I never applied for a judgeship, and I was never a candidate for the state Senate seat. I looked at it, I talked it over with my wife. I've got 2 young kids at home, so my priorities are certainly with my family and at home. I've got 2 young daughters, a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old. I enjoy going to their soccer games. I enjoy going to their basketball games. I enjoy going to gymnastic events as well. I enjoy doing family stuff at home. That's where my priorities are. In terms of my legislative or my career, in terms of political, I think I made the right decision. Unfortunately for you, I'm still here. But I think the bottom line is my priorities are right. I never applied for any judgeships, so I don't know what you're talking about with that. I never, ever said that I was a candidate for Senate. And again, did I look at it? Yes, there's been a lot of opportunities, but I think my strong suit is to stay right here in the 12th Hampden District and to continue being a strong leader, because we need continued strong leadership in the House of Representatives. There's a lot of change, there's been a lot of turnover, and we need to have strong, effective leadership in Boston.
Rebuttal.
You're Rich, I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought.
It's okay, take your time. You got a few more seconds.
No, I'll pass. I've got to.
Representative Puppolo, your next question, please.
Thank you, Rich. Mr. Russell, I helped write a sweeping campaign reform law called the Massachusetts Disclosure Act to shed some light on these dark, shadowy money from outside groups coming into elections. However, since August, our district have seen unprecedented attacks by these outside groups with slick flyers, slick mailers, all targeted against me. Why have you failed to denounce the outside super PAC spending?
Well, first of all, I have no control over what anybody says from any of these groups. I have no connection to any of these people. Their mission, as I understand it, is to educate the voter, educate them on your voting record. And I believe they're actually doing a pretty good job of it. But let's talk about outside money. Of the 69 the contributions to your campaign in this season, 69% of the money has come from outside sources, outside of the district that you represent.
Rebuttal.
Well, again, you're misleading the people at home as well. There's this group called the Marlboro Republican Committee that's donated in-kind contributions, paid staffers to have them work on your campaign, paid canvassers to drop literature on your campaign. That's directly towards your campaign. There's also the Mass Fiscal Alliance who sent out these slick flyers against me as well. And in fact, you recently loaned your campaign $4,000 of your own money when you found out that the Mass Fiscal Alliance is not going to do any more mailers. So you've picked up where they left off with the same irresponsible message.
Time. Bob Russell, your next question, please.
Folks, that's just nonsense. I don't have the PACs. I don't have the kind of support. I don't have the war chest that my opponent has. Yes, I have to loan money to my campaign for its everyday operations. I mean, is there any magic involved in that? I don't think so.
We need a question.
You need a question for me?
Question
Okay.
for Angelo.
Well, I should be able to rebut because he got to rebut another rebuttal.
Yeah, a question from Mr. Russell.
Angelo, your record, let's talk about your record, reflects a lockstep with the leadership in Boston and with special interest. What, excuse me, and your campaign donations, which I just mentioned, confirm that that's where
We need a question.
Okay. How are we to believe that your priority is for your district and not for the special interests, not for the leadership? 96% of the time you vote with the Speaker of the House. When are you going to start to think for yourself and for the people in this district?
Since day one, I've been an independent leader for the district, and I've gotten real results. You have mentioned 96%. Those numbers are skewed because there's a tremendous amount of land taking and votes that really don't even matter, that are unanimous in terms of partisan votes. So there's the last week of the session, there's hundreds of votes just on land takings alone, so that raises that percentage up. But let me just say this, whether the idea comes from Bob DeLeo, the Speaker of the House, or whether it comes from a Republican or a Democrat, if it's a good idea, I support it. If it's a bad idea, I don't support it. It's as simple as that. I'm not interested in percentages or anything like that. I'm interested in making sure that I'm doing the right thing and bringing home the resources to my district. Since you mentioned the Speaker, I'm proud to have the Speaker out to my district more than anybody else in the time that we've been here. In terms of having them come out for the tornado recovery, have them see the problems shortly right after the tornado, or have them visit Friendly's. He was the first Speaker of the House to come out to Friendly's. Friendly's is the largest employer in my district. They had some issues. We were able to bring the Speaker out there to meet with the CEO and some of the employees to go over some of their concerns. I'm proud of that.
Bob, rebuttal?
Well, I'll just go back and say that if you always vote the same way, you're predictable, you're in lockstep with the leadership. This is where we are, folks. Are you happy with the way that the state is being run right now? I don't think so, and that's the problem.
Gentlemen, it's time now for closing statements. Each candidate will get 1 minute for a closing statement. Bob Russell, you go first.
Thank you, Rich, and thanks again, Channel 22. My question is simple. Are you better off today than you were 8 years ago when my opponent took office? Are you happy with the way the state's being run? Are you proud of the representation that you see coming from my opponent? I know that we can do better. I know that you deserve better, your children deserve better, your grandchildren deserve better. I'm too old to make this a career, folks. I'm not in it to be a career politician. I'm in it to serve you. Please don't be duped by the nonsense that he puts out about me. Please don't be duped by the skewed inaccuracies of my personal past. Think about your future. This isn't about me. This isn't about him. This is about you and your future. Thank you very much.
Angelo Puppolo, your closing statement, please.
Thank you, Rich, and again, thank you everybody for watching at home. let me just be frank. There's nothing skewed about anything. I'm an open book. My record is as solid as they come. I've been a hard-working representative for each and every one of you since day one. You know where to find me. You know how I can be accessible. You know that I can get results. We need to have continued strong leadership in Boston. We don't need somebody that's going to just go out there and make some nonsense and throw some flames. But everybody's entitled to their opinion, and I think it's important to know that you're not entitled to your own set of facts. Check out the facts about my opponent yourself, and you can see certainly where the flaws are. But let me just say again, I've been a strong, effective leader, someone who's been able to get results, and I'm going to continue to get results. And I think that's what we need. We need to make sure that our children and our families and our district still continues to be a strong, great place to live, to work, and raise a family. We've done a lot of great things together. I cannot continue to do it alone. I need your continued support on November 4th. I would ask for your vote once again so I can continue representing you in Boston. Thank you.
That concludes our look at the candidates running for the State House seat in the 12th Hampden District. Our thanks to Angelo Puppolo and Bob Russell for participating today. Don't forget Election Day is Tuesday, November 4th. If you missed any of today's debate, you can watch it again on our website at wwlp.com. I'm Rich Tatimer. Thanks for watching and have a good afternoon.